Hello, algebra students. We are going to talk about functions. So functions are a specific type of relation. We learned about relations in the last lesson, and this is a specific type of relation. So if you look at a soda machine, and you look at what you input on that soda machine, you will get the desired output. So if you push this button, you're going to get a Coke. If you push this button, you're going to get a Coke. This a Sprite, and this a Dr. Pepper. So if you push those buttons, you expect to get that soda out. So your input produces a single output that you expect. Similarly, if you are looking at a calculator, pull up your calculator. So if you would type in 4 plus 6, you expect to get the output of 10. If you would type in -2 plus -7, you would expect to get the output of -9. Great. So we want to look at whether or not a relation is a function. So what we input, we want our inputs to be a predictable outcome or output. Okay, if they're not a function because it's not functioning properly. Like if you typed in -2 plus -7 into your calculator and it didn't give you -9, you would be saying my calculator's not working, right? So that's what we're looking at today. All right, so what do we mean by this? So a function is a relation in which each element or number of the domain, that would be this column here, remember, is paired with exactly one element of the range. So if we're looking at a mapping, this domain has one arrow going out of it to one number over here. So if the domain is shared over here, it would not be a output or a single output. So not any x value cannot repeat. That's not even completely accurate. Any domain cannot have more than one friend. So let's look at what that means. This is a function because every single input button has exactly one output. So if I am looking at this function here, -2 has the output of -3. If I push on the 0 button, it has the output of 6. If I push on the 3 button, it has the output of 6. And the 4 button has the output of 9. Does every single one of these domain have exactly one output? Is this a function? The answer is yes, because each button has one output. Now, these two buttons have the same output, but that's okay. That's okay. We just can't have the button over here have two different numbers. So look at number 3 here. Is this relation a function? Why or why not? So if you want to rewrite this table as a mapping, you can do that. Remembering not to write repeats. And I'm going to say no, because 1 has two different outputs. 1, if you push on the button 1, you could get 4, or you could get -4. And so when you're looking at that soda machine and you push on the Coke button, you'd be getting a Coke or a Sprite. And if you're pushing the Coke button, you want a Coke, right? So somebody loaded the machine wrong. So this is not a function. It does not function right. What about this relation? Is this a function? Why or why not? So I want you to think about this. I might do this as a mapping. It's easiest to find if it's a function or not a function when you do a mapping. So put your domain over here and your range over here, and then draw your arrows like we did in the last lesson. And I want you to try this one on your own, okay? Think about this one. Is this relation a function, y or y not? If all of my y values are 5, what could my x values be? They could literally be anything. So make a table or a mapping, either one. I made a table. So if I have -1, my y value is going to be 5 because y is equal to 5. If I have 0, it's going to be 5. If I have 1, it's going to be 5. If I have 2, it's going to be 5. So I want you to decide, is this a function, yes or no? Okay, so have that done. There's one last way to test if a relation is a function by doing the vertical line test. So a vertical line test is drawing a vertical line, that's an up and down line, that crosses any point on the graph more than once. If that happens, the line that's graphed is not a function. So remember, we can graph all of our ordered pairs and connect some of them. So in this case, we're drawing a line. So here's 3 different lines. This one is like an x squared line. This one is just a x equal x plus something, okay? And then this one's a circle, so this would be an x squared y squared line, okay? So I want to draw a vertical line, an up and down line, anywhere on this graph. So up and down, up and down, up and down. So what do I mean by that? Like this, okay? And if anywhere on the graph I hit this graph, the blue graph, more than once, here it went through once, went through once, went through once, went through once. If I hit more than once, the answer would be no, not a function. So it looks like everywhere I draw this vertical line, I would only go through the blue line once. So this is yes, a function, okay? What about that second one? Draw your vertical lines and tell me, do you go through it more than once? If you go through it more than once, your answer is going to be no. If you go through, if your vertical lines only go through the blue line once, your answer will be yes. All right, that's what your vertical line should look like. So your answer should be yes. All right, what about that circle? If I draw a vertical line far enough to go through all parts of the shape, how many times does this line go through the circle? 2. Yep. So that is not a function. All right. It is your job, my friends, to ask questions when you get to class, and we'll go over those. And that concludes our notes. So have a great day and God bless.